Take a moment to find your center. Establish your center. Close your eyes, tune in. Arriving in your spine, in your tailbone, and connection with the earth. Arriving in your breath, in your cells, in the space between the words. Like a ready position. When playing tennis and you're waiting to receive a service, you have a ready position. It's grounded, stable, relaxed, focused, quiet. Because you don't know where the ball's coming. In the same way, cultivate this ready position for the present moment. Because it's coming from all directions at once. When you're present, then you can drop everything. To be present is a freedom. To be yourself is effortless. To be something that's not yourself requires lots of effort, lots of thinking, lots of planning. So we have the habit that we think that we're supposed to be something else. This is a bad habit. So what to do? Just deeply be at home within yourself. For no reason, no explanation. It's not a mental concept. Lived experience. If you hold the knife incorrectly, if you hold any tool incorrectly, very difficult to use, actually can be dangerous. If you hold the tennis racket incorrectly, then it's difficult to control the shots, the direction, the speed, the spin. So then you practice holding it correctly, again and again, without thinking. And eventually it becomes natural. It becomes your habit. In the same way, we're improperly holding the mind, improperly holding the body, improperly holding the emotions, the heart. As a result, we have a constant pressure. Because we put ourselves in an impossible situation. We have to see that we're creating this problem, trying to solve a problem we've created which is impossible. There's no peace in this scenario. It's never enough. This is a scenario of never enough. And so we mistakenly think happiness is a kind of excitement. The excitement of getting what you want. But this is actually just a temporary intoxication, like eating sugar. You eat sugar and you feel excited, and then you crash. So happiness is not excitement or intoxication or getting what you want. Happiness is not wanting, this moment of enough, nothing's missing. A kind of contentment, a wholeness, a fullness. You eat a meal, you're full. You're full, nothing's missing. All the time when something, it's not enough. I'm not enough, I don't have enough. Something not enough, always not enough. That not enough, you can never fill it. So, be quiet, be present. To be yourself, you don't need any explanation. Yourself will continue to manifest and evolve and grow every second of every day. Every second, life-changing moment. There's no finished thing. It's evolving, growing, alive. So to know yourself is to live into yourself, which is expressing itself and revealing itself each moment, moment to moment. It's not like a finished script or some like one-word answer, like a job or something, or a quality or something. It's infinite. To be yourself is to be that infinite presence, that infinite consciousness, the oneness. Expressing itself through this individuality. But if we're trapped in just this little I, the ego I, then life is always a problem. And I'm always at the center of it. So this is why they say, easiest way, forget yourself. You can't figure it out. You can't fix it. You can only be that which you already are. Okay, questions? Meditation, physical yoga and breathwork aside, what are the most effective ways to nurture being present? Wonderful question. So these are the other aspects of the practice or sadhana. One is connection with nature, to spend time in nature, to air bathe. You have to expose your skin to the sun, to the air. We're trapped, we're poisoning ourselves. Our clothing is chemical clothing washed in chemicals, our bedding, our houses, and our skin is breathing in chemicals continuously, never exposed to the air, to the forest air, to the sun. We must expose our body to the elements, to the sun, go in the water, the river, the ocean. Go into nature and be quiet, and don't take a phone or something. Walk, observe, just see. By seeing all the natural shapes, everything, this is healing our brain. By hearing the sounds of the insects and animals, it's healing our brain, our nervous system. We need to learn. We think we're so great and nature's so stupid and dirty. We need to reverse. We need to be humble, and we need to learn from nature and learn to be natural. Nature is no question. Who am I? The trees, the grass. Who am I? What should I do? What should I wear? Where should I go? So fully expressing themselves, being themselves. So nature. I think really important is working with the hot-cold therapy, contrast therapy. So steam, sauna / cold plunge. That's very important. Creativity, creative expression. Many ways to do that. Gardening, cooking, right? Dancing. Dancing is a must. And then other ways, to bring that into the life. Journaling. Journaling is essential tool. Journaling. Community. Community is number one. This is one of the biggest challenges in the modern world. The disruption of community and this illusion of online community everything, and everyone very much disconnected. Because through community we can see ourselves, we can be ourselves. Otherwise we have to be everything all the time for everyone. And so when we're in community, we can find our edges and our gifts, and we can see it in one another. Community is an essential tool for embodying ourselves and supporting ourselves in one another. Massage, touch, massage, acupuncture, these kinds of things, because it's just our way of life. We're stagnant. It's important, regular massage or oil bathing. Then you have all the cleansing practices, like cleaning the enema. Colon cleansing is really essential, at least once a month. Cleaning the eyes, the nose. And then things like reading the teachings of the sages. This also is, for me, equal to doing the practice is the contact with the sages and enlightened masters. That's essential. And then many things, the food, fasting. Fasting is great. And then beyond all of the specific practices is having a strong intention that this is important. Because whatever we really feel deep down is important in our life, we do that. And so we choose how we dedicate our time, what we sacrifice. And so many times we say something, but it's just the lips. We don't really feel that. we're not really ready for peace, to be at peace, to be happy. It's just on the surface, but really what we want is we fear and we want money or we want status or something. And so that's what we do. And so we have to examine very deep level what is really essential for us, what's important to us in this lifetime at this time, and to align our life choices with that. It will happen naturally, not by forcing, but through awareness. And then the other one is the life rhythm. We need stable life rhythm. Waking, sleeping, eating, practicing, fixed rhythm. Not all over the place. It's very difficult. It needs to be grounded within the cycle of time. Everything exists within time. All the planets and molecules and everything is rhythm. So we're completely out of rhythm with the universe. Only human beings are in a false time. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, it's consumer time. Saturday, Sunday, holiday, weekday, this has nothing to do with real time, with the seasons, the cycles, the planets, the moon. So we're existing in a false time, and beyond that, we have no rhythm. So we need to establish a stable rhythm. It will help at a biological level. Everything is rhythm, at every level, psychological, biological, whatever. It's all rhythm, timing. So that's why coming into tune, coming into harmony, through timing, and having that structure will allow you to be creative and to flow. With no structure, then it's like a river with no banks. We need some structure, some parameters within which to express the freedom. And so some kind of rhythm, structure, discipline like this, I think, is really important to anchor it. Otherwise, we have experience now and then and just spin out. How to let go of stubborn, reoccurring thoughts. Yeah. So what you need is to more and more bring your attention into the present moment. And when this becomes a habit, then everything else goes away automatically. It's not by pushing it away or whatever. It's where do you want your attention to go? Not where do you want it to go away from. Where do you want to put your attention? And train your attention, put your attention there, in those things. You can do gratitude practice, journaling practice, whatever. We have to cultivate what we want. We know what we don't want, but we have no direction. So then the more and more you're in present, everything else goes away by itself. You don't have to do anything. It's already gone. Really. Where is everything that we've experienced? Where is all these situations? Who's carrying that? I call it the past. Whose past is this? I have a few little ideas about tiny fragments of what I saw and observed and then created some story. Is that the past? Is that the infinite everything, this interrelated everything? This is a little tiny sliver of nothing, my personal nothing, and now it's the past. So where is that? Who's carrying it? What are we carrying from that? Oh, and how to let go of that? Like a shadow. How do you let go of the shadow? So we have to see clearly. We have to investigate our understanding of the world. Challenge our misunderstandings. We know that our senses are deceiving us. We see only solid objects. They say nothing's solid. We see the color. They say it's the absence of that color. Our mind is lying, and it's wrong at least half of the time. But we go on obsessively listening to it, whine and complain. If any friend of ours would lie and complain and be wrong all the time, we would never pay attention to them. So, cultivate awareness through daily practice, and the thoughts will fall away by themselves. Though sometimes it means there's something that's not yet digested, we have to investigate. Sometimes we have to pull it apart, because something sometimes is a message. You have to look at this. But it's like, that's rare. It's more like you go to the toilet and you just flush it down. You check and make sure nothing bad, and then you flush it. Otherwise, we're going to be picking through the trash the whole life. What to do? After a while meditating, I'm getting distracted by uncomfortable sitting position. How long will it usually take to get used to? How can I improve that? Yeah, so it's true, but when you start holding a pencil, how long until it became comfortable to hold that pencil? How long when you were learning to walk did it take before it became comfortable? How long when you're learning to play an instrument? So is it worth it? The question. Then to sit, if it has value, then we can go through that. Okay, it's challenging. It's good to be challenged. If we never challenge ourselves, we become stupid and lazy. So just to challenge ourselves, that itself is a great what do you call? Gift. And I say it's like playing an instrument, playing a sport. A couple months, depends on how much you dedicate yourself. That's why I said, okay, what to do? Every day do yoga, breathing, meditation. Every day do your practice once or twice. Right? And then you got to know for your specific body where the tightness is, and you do targeted postures for that specifically every day. And then, because probably you're sitting down most of your day, you arrange such that you can come into meditation posture wherever that is you're sitting down, and you do that multiple times a day. Say you can sit 12 minutes before it becomes painful. So you sit for 12 minutes, 10 times a day, whatever, you're sitting. And you do that every day, I think you get the point. So it's like training anything, training any sport, anything. When I started practicing the yoga asana, I was like this. I was like, and it's like, it's not a problem. You just do that every day, and then after a month, it's like that, and after 2 months, it's like that. Just completely patterning your body, your muscle memory, your body memory, opening the joints, tapping. It's not a big mystery box. It's the same, like an artist would train, like a scientist, like a sports player, anything. But anyway, more questions. Okay, the best way to raise your vibration. Yeah, the metaphor expression of raising the vibration has to do with the density or the lightness of the vibration. Right? And so one is, first, everyone needs to do a daily practice. It's like you brush your teeth and take a shower every day. Unless you're cleaning every day, obviously, you're going to get heavy and stuck, like constipated, essentially. Mentally, emotionally, physically. And so that's like a baseline. We take that for granted. Do the daily practice. Right? Then, because that's going to smooth out, it's like you comb your hair is smooth. You do the practice, then the energetic field becomes very smooth. all these heavy emotions, everything becomes digested. It's a kind of digestion. We have to digest the life and turn it into energy. So also the type of clothing we wear, wearing certain natural fabrics, this is good for vibration. Doing energetic cleansing with things like sage or like some brownie, these different powders and herbs, Palo Santo. Taking shower. Right, even Amma says, like we brush our teeth because all the bacteria gathers on the tongue. They say the same thing on the skin. So it's important morning time at least also to rinse with the water in the evening to clean energetically. Meditation, more meditation, more breathing. Spend time in nature, less talking. Less talking, less eating. Definitely raise your vibration. Fasting, silence. To appreciate the beauty around you, inside you. To dance. To be in nature. To speak sweet words. Many things. We should fill our days with things that are nourishing. Is our sense of self an illusion? Yes. Everything is illusion. This word flower, I think of flower. What's that? It's some abstraction. It doesn't exist. It's some concept of some past something, nothing. The flower, actually, there's no such thing as a flower. I used to think there were flowers and there were weeds and there were plants. Flower is a process. It's a process of life. The seed is growing, the plant, and then it's flowering. Flower is not a separate existence. And I cut it into pieces and dissect it, then I don't know the flower. So all of our mind is a past, is illusion, is a concept, like a dream. When you wake up from the dream, where's the dream? Where's the dreamer? So whatever we know is false. Some things are useful in a mechanical sense in terms of like the engineering and mechanics of life and benefiting from that. But in terms of ultimate reality and conceptual, all this kind of thing, yeah. So it's actually good news because it means we can relax. We can relax. We don't have to get it right. There's no way to figure it out. What would that mean? What would that look like to figure oneself out? You have it's like an obituary or something. Some tiny fragments of the career or some quality or people in the life. It's infinite. So how are you? How am I? Because each day, each moment, we're experiencing so many different states. But we create an identity and get stuck in some idea. And then it becomes like a trap. So we have to take a step back from the story. Otherwise, we're going to drown in it. There's no way out. No one has made it. The rich people, the famous people, the beautiful people, the powerful people. No one could fix it. In fact, it seems like it even got more difficult. So we can valiantly run into the storm and hope that we'll be the first ones to make it, or try a different path. At which point of time during yoga meditation practice do we observe looking up in ujjayi breath? So there are 3 or 4 things that are when you combine that with the practice of yogasana, potentiates it like thousands of times. One is ujjayi breath. So during the posture, ujjayi breath. This is like a pump. It's a pressurized breath. You know, like a tree, it needs the pressure in order to get the things from the top to the bottom. We're also a vertical being. And so the balancing the pressure of the breaths, 5 major breaths, 10 breaths total, then we're able to, it activates certain channels and secretes certain things that aren't activated otherwise. So the ujjayi breath, and it's also cleansing the energy, the karmas, also this empowering the voice, that our words have real power. So ujjayi breath is during the practice. In the time between the postures, no ujjayi breath. Very subtle breathing. This is where we go into the kind of breathless breath. The breath becomes so subtle, you're not even sure, is it breathing or not? And ideally, you're not breathing, the breath is breathing itself. So number 2, Shambhavi Mudra, or what we call looking up. Right? We have 2 eyes that are sun and moon, right? Which is duality. Then we have the 3rd eye, this one, the oneness. And so when our attention is going out the eyes, then it's all the time grabbing, it's with desire, attachment, and aversion. What we don't like, our eyes are grabbing onto. What we do like also, our eyes are grabbing onto, pulling us out of the center. So during the practice, we don't want to be pulled out of center or into the past or future, anything. So the yogis discovered these subtle channels inside. Right? We can activate different glands and parts of the brain by manipulating the head. And so this one is looking up. That can be just up like that. You don't want your eyes to be wavering, but at first they may. This is like tickling your pineal gland, and it keeps the mind like above the clouds. You can play around with this. Number 3, Mula Bandha. This is at the base of the spine. Right? We have 9 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And because of gravity, everything's coming down, leaking down. And we don't want that to happen. We need it to go up. And so there's a pump at the base of the spine, Mula Bandha. And this also, when combined with the postures and the pranayama, potentiates thousands times. Then the last one, and again, this is like not, anyway, I'm just kind of pointing this out. When you reach that point in your practice, you can work with that. Number 4 is the tongue, Kechari Mudra. So you turn the tongue back and touch the soft palate of your mouth. This makes a connection between these meridians, and there's a whole thing happening inside there. That's all I'm going to say. How does one love without attachment? How does one love with attachment? It's not love. Love with attachment is not love. It's control. It's a desire. It's a fear, insecurity. The love means that there's no object, there's no subject, and there's no reason, right? We see, I love you because you're beautiful. So, I love you because there's a reason. If that reason changes, the love goes away. That can't be real love. That's just an agreement. Now, I love you. I love you, but I don't love her. I don't love that. I don't love this. So, you can easily come from one category to the next then. So also, the real love, no subject. Next one, I love. No object. No, I love. But who am I? Why am I needed? What am I doing? I decree that the love is there now, something? No. So you remove the subject, the object, and the reason, and it's just everything is only love. The sun shining is love, the river flowing, the plant growing. Life itself is an expression of that infinite love, that impersonal, unconditional love. Everything else is conditioned. Everything else is conditioned. So only when you disappear, then that is love. But it's not like a romantic movie, something like this. We're not talking, we only think about love between humans. We have to forget about humans for a moment and see what is the love. No, the plant pulling the water from the soil, no, the sun, the photosynthesis, the atoms spinning, the ocean and the tide, the decay, the birth and decay of matter. This is love is the one energy of the universe. To call it love also becomes tricky then, because we're so polluted. We have this word, we have some fairy tale. This perfect love. Someone is going to be everything for us and make us happy and give us everything. Love is much deeper. Love is so the attachment, love is not possible with attachment. It's something different. We call it love. But it's a kind of eros or something. In meditation practice, how do you reconcile maintaining awareness of your body and posture and breath with losing yourself, forgetting yourself and focusing only at one point? One leads into the other. No? Through the body, then eventually it becomes the one point. From the one point, you disappear. Then meditation's beginning. Actually, what we're practicing, we call meditation, it's not, it's concentration. First step, concentration. Normally, we're going in 1,000 directions at once. We're everywhere but here. We're everywhere but here. We're in what's next, 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago, like this. So we're fragmented. So first thing is we need to bring our whole self back into right here. Gather all the pieces and come here. This is a concentration, concentrum, recenter. Then, at a high level, that becomes one-pointed, ekagarata. One-pointed, like a seed, like a tiny little diamond. And then, you become absorbed into that point. Like imagine you have a seed. From that seed grows a big giant tree. All of a sudden, the tree collapses back into that seed state. This is the beginning of meditation. So, we have glimpses anyway, we don't know. Throughout the day we have glimpses of these transcendental states. We have to prepare our nervous system and clean our minds that we can access and appreciate these more subtle things. What are your thoughts about Ashtanga Yoga? Too aggressive, too long, too much asana. Who needs that? For what? It's good that it's a fixed practice, but it's just like way too much. Achievement, pride. Unless you mean Ashtanga, the 8 limbs of yoga. Or like what Patanjali's teaching means, what's the yamas, niyamas, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, bandha. All this is, we must walk the path. We must practice these different, but that will unfold naturally. Really, the yoga is not meant for the yoga studio. It's the last place. It's very difficult. You can't be in your own rhythm and deeply connected with yourself with a bunch of other people around. You're going to be comparing. You're going to get caught up in this and that. Right? You have to learn. You have to work one-on-one with teacher. Then you set up and you do your own practice. Every now and then you go to community jam and practice with other people. But that's not it's impossible to have this kind of practice in a group environment. If our heart, the source, cannot be known, how can we have a glimpse of it or receive nectar? You are it. You are that. You can't see your own self. You can't see your I. It's not to be known. You can't be known because you are it. You are the nectar. You are the source. You are the light. You're never separate from that. Once you have that contact, then it's like it's not even a trust. Maybe at first it's a trust or a faith, then it's a knowing. It's a knowing and the not knowing. It's not a knowing like I already know, like I know, been there, done that. It's a knowing in a oneness, in a wholeness, and there's no doubt. There's no question, so the mind can be quiet. If there's still some question, we must understand the answer. We must understand the answer, unravel the question. Then be quiet. This quiet is the highest state. This is the divine state, to be quiet. In yoga, what or who is God? Everything, everywhere. All the elements, all of matter, the space which within the matter is dancing, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, birth, death, preservation. What is not God? There's nothing outside of that. God is also these words, we're all trapped in this, the everything, the energy moving, and the seed, the tree, the forest, everything. Not a person sitting outside of something, judging and controlling in something, rooting for this team or that team. Nothing to do with religion. Actually, original meaning of religion, religare, reconnect. This is meaning of yoga, the join. The one, the small self and the big self. Jiva and Shiva. God. So they say God is the wholeness, and each individual, and every sound, and every color, and every movement. The wholeness is better, the oneness is better. As soon as we hear God, we think of some person, someone judging something. What's the difference between yoga and Buddhism? So, in how to say, they have the Vedas. The Vedas is the ancient books of wisdom and knowledge in India that were seen by the rishis. Also, you have the Quran in the Muslim tradition. But the Sufis have a special Quran. Also, the yogis have a special Veda. The Quran of the Sufis is empty. And the Vedas of the yogi is empty, is blank. Because they're reading it's unfolding each moment. And so, we need to learn to read the wisdom of the present moment. Everything is revealed. Everything is hiding in plain sight. This is a yoga. It has nothing to do with any culture or religion. Buddha was a yogi. Jesus was a yogi. Jesus was a Jew. There was no Christianity. There was no Buddhism. There are different names for the path, but we're not concerned with that. We're concerned with that state of wholeness which transcends any language or culture. So this is Sanatana Dharma. Yoga also, ugly word. Now, Hindu also, ugly word. None of these, all this is sociology, anthropology, not the mystic experience of the truth. All these are academics, blindly groping in the forest of ego. We don't need any ism. We don't need the Buddhism. We need to awaken the inner Buddha, awaken inner Christ. We don't need to study more information about religion. So the real yoga, there's no difference. My brain keeps drifting to thoughts or ideas when I try to meditate. I never seem to get into a state where I don't think about anything. Any tips? Just keep going. It's like dribbling the basketball. Some people dribble for a few days and they can get it. Some people it takes longer. Doesn't matter. Don't give any importance to it. Just continue the practice. Or practice more, twice a day. Shorter session or something. No, eventually you become more sensitive. By working with your breathing, no, you should feel this morning this person, no, in the practice at no point in between the postures there was no time where everything became very light and calm and slow. And you have to pay attention to this subtle inner rhythm and then accentuate that. And you become more sensitive over time. In general, 99 out of 100 problems that people say in their meditation will go away. You just keep practicing. Practice every day for 3 months. It's like trying to speak a foreign language, and be like, it's not it's, just stick with it. Toxic positivity. Yes, positivity is toxic. Positivity is like that things will get better, or that there's an ideal in the future, or something like that. Positivity is taking you out of this moment. So it's beyond positivity and negativity. No, that's still a story. It's like there's a story and we're sitting back judging. Is it going to be good, or is it going to be bad? If it's going to be good, we'll feel excited. If it's going to be bad, we start to freak out and try to change it. Right? This is a trap. So everything in the mind is a trap. Attachment. We're attached to what we want, and we're attached to what we don't want. So we try to get what we want, and we try to avoid what we don't want. And essentially our whole personality is just a subtle strategy for what has worked, getting what we want, and avoiding what we don't want. And so this everything's great, everything's perfect, everything's good. No, everything is what it is. Only then, when you put it all down, can you be present. Otherwise, you're in a story about the future. Oh, it's going to be great over there. There's no such thing. It's a fantasy. Each one of us has our own fantasy about the future, and that never comes. Life can never meet that. Of all these billions of people, our ideas keep changing every moment, what we want and don't want. And life has nothing to do with that. No one can share our future. No one can touch it. No one can know it. We don't even really know what we think of as our own idea about the future. We don't even really know. And no one is sharing. No one's thinking about our future, our idea of the future. So we're trapped in our personal delusion, in our personal fantasy, creating impossible situation. So that's the difficult thing. We've already done the difficult thing. Now the easy part. Drop it. Relax. Put down the burden. Put down the story. Like you do at night when you go to sleep. Where does it go? All the stories. In the dreaming state, in the sleeping state. This is the pointer. So now in the waking state, be like in the deep sleep state. Free. Okay, 3 more. Oh well. How do you accomplish good deeds on a higher scale if you're supposed to live in the moment? Changing the world. So a good deed is not like a superhero thing that gets written up in the newspaper. Good deed means to be kind to yourself. Good deed means to not judge someone. A good deed is the little moments, living in the little moments. Only possibility to do the good deed is when you're present, living in the little moment. It's not a story. It's not, look at me, I'm about to do a good deed. Let's take a picture. It's not about the big thing. I'm donating money to this. That's not the good deed. The good deed is to be in tune with yourself and with life. That's the only way to change the world. Everything else is just a distraction. Instead of dealing with this moment, we want to save those people over there. We don't even understand ourselves. We can't save ourselves. So that kind of like the change starts with you thing, you know, when you're in tune and emanating the peace, that's going to spill over to everyone that's you in your life, consciously, unconsciously. And so, more than like talking about the way things should be, then living it, it's only possible if you're present. How to incorporate teachings into the real world when it feels like life is sometimes the complete opposite. Money, always rushing. So we have to look very carefully about what is the real world. And so is the mountain the real world? Is the molecule the real world? Or is the real world only this modern anthropocentric society civilization? For sure, the real world must be real since millions of years, billions of years. Since the beginning, it was already real. So, actually, we don't know what is the real world. It's because we're disconnected from the real world that we're all the time distracting ourselves. And unpleasant like this overeating, overthinking, overworking, over like this, exerting, over talking, overstimulation, because we're disconnected from the real world. Is your heartbeat the real world, or your bank account, or your car? Which one? The children? It's the real world is everything. It's not excluding that, but that's a small part of the real world. That modern consumer civilization, you tell me that's the real world, where 70% of the people are constipated, have insomnia, anxiety. Something is off. Something is out of tune. Something is not balanced. So, I think we have to question this. We take for granted, it's supposed to be this way. This is because it's a toxic lifestyle, and we've been forced to neglect ourselves and conditioned with the marketing and fear and desire and culture. So the question is rhythm. That's what I was speaking before. We need to establish, life is a cycle rhythm. Everything, from the macro to the microcosm, the cycles of life, the seasons, the times of the year. And so we have that in that pattern as above below within us in our life, from waking to sleeping. In Chinese medicine, we know the blood and the energy is moving through different organs, different times of day. Different things are stimulated different times of day. Our hormonal rhythm, our rhythm is so off. Our rhythm is so clearly off. So all we need is to establish healthy rhythm. Let the real world be the real world. It doesn't matter. Whether we know it or not, the real world will be real, and the false world will be false. So let it be as it is. But we must be in a good rhythm. And then everything else will come into place when you're in rhythm, when you're in tune. So this is what's important. You need to listen and recognize, am I in tune or out of tune? When someone's singing, you're in the park, someone's singing, and it's so bad. It's so out of tune. You feel inside this contraction. Then you go a little further, someone's singing in tune. It's so nice. You feel this expansion. So this is the language of the intuition. It's not words and comparing, contrasting, weighing pros and cons. It's a subtle yes, expansion, or no, contraction. And we experience that every second in relation to everything, every person, every moment, continuously. So we have to start to pay attention at that subtle level to the sensation, to recognize what's bringing us into alignment and what's bringing us out of alignment. And if we give value to that being in alignment, right? Like we give value to being very professional and being very, like that. And so we did it. We can achieve that. So we can also give value to being very authentic, being very real, being very present, being very sensitive. Sensitive not in an emotional way. Sensitive means sensing, listening. So because even if we have everything, all the money, all the success, all the toys, but inside we're disconnected, inside miserable, what's the value? Where's the security in that? Now we freeze our brain and continue this miserable existence 100 years from now? So the goal is the present moment, the little moments. When you're present, each day I have 1,000 moments of beauty, unexpected, 1,000 moments of unexpected wisdom, 1,000 moments of unexpected mind-blowing. So the goal is not over there. The goal is now. How can I let go of my ego? Which one? Who will let go of the ego? Will the ego let go of the ego? Or there's another ego? Or the true self? Does the true self have a body? How will it let go? We have to investigate. Who's going to let go of who? In order to wear down the ego, we have to do the purification practice. Daily practice, yoga, breathing, meditation. And then it's good to be silent. In the silence we can see our ego, because I want to say something, but why? So we can observe these urges. Fasting also. Fasting, very good, you watch your ego. Fasting is all control. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, and so it's more like, not eating is not a big deal, but it's the ego. Watch the ego. Your ego become very quiet and very pure. Like this, we train it. We have to train. We have to train. The ego is a bridge. The ego is not evil. It's not a problem. But when it becomes the controller, then it creates a problem. So we have to, like a gardening. Everything has its place. We have to put everything in its place. And then forget about it. Like the sports players, they're training in the game. Flow. The jazz musician, training very high level scales and these transfigurations, but in the moment, flow. No mind. This is no mind. It's not hiding from light. Okay. Let's take a moment to be quiet. Drop all the words. They're all empty. In between the words is a space. In that space you come home, whether you know it or not. So be quiet. Look up. Breathe slowly, very slowly. Oh.